Hello and welcome to a podcast with your host Reem at Raise Your Vibes. Tonight I felt very, very compelled to do this particular podcast, although I've got several other podcasts that need to be published and out there. But I was hit with a very, very emotional news, which you can probably hear in my voice. And I felt compelled tonight to do something other than sit here in an emotional mess, crying and weeping over someone that we all should know and we all looked up to. And that was the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful person called Khaled Nabhan. And this podcast is dedicated to him and his family and to the many, many other victims of Palestine. Some of you may not know who Khaled Nabhan was, and I'll give you my version of how he has come into my life and changed it in many, many ways, in many, many directions. Many of us watched him, unfortunately, give a message to the world when his beautiful grandfather, he was a grandfather, was hugging and kissing his beautiful granddaughter Reem at the time, and he was trying very, very hard to wake her up and play with her sadly lifeless body. And it became apparent, over a year ago that she had passed away. He was trying very, very hard to come to terms with the fact that this beautiful little girl was sadly not going to play with him anymore. This beautiful little girl was not going to come and tickle his beard or play with his beard or pull on his hair, and vice versa. And the world watched as he sadly laid her to rest, and he asked her forgiveness for keeping one of her earrings. And later you could see that one of the studs he had put in his little, not blazer pocket, but on his garment, he had placed the stud and asked her, that this is something he wanted to keep as a keepsake. As we watched this humble man with a very stereotypical garment and headdress that we often see in media and we often see in lots and lots of different types of sources, weep, mourn, grieve. We grieved with him. We mourned with him. We grieved his loss. We felt like this family was our family. This girl was our little girl. It wasn't just his granddaughter. And we felt this loss ourselves. We could relate to this loss. And I think that's one of the reasons that we loved him even more. He stood as an icon. He stood as a huge, huge, huge pillar of hope, of faith, of humanity, of humility. And we watched this man's whole life be destroyed within moments. And we watched him and many, many others' life shatter and be torn apart. And yet here came this gorgeous soul that spent his time supporting and helping others. He didn't go and start doing acts of violence, acts of wanting anger and revenge. No, if anything, he was a man of love, of warmth, of compassion, of peace. I was following him and various other, where the peace Palestinian activists that are protecting and supporting and spreading actual real news rather than propaganda. And I watched him go from tent to tent and dig out things in rubble, help people, sadly lay quite a lot of people to rest. He helped quite a lot of people that had lost limbs. He helped elderly people find homes in tents and help them salvage their lives. And he kept trying to give them comfort, despite losing everything himself. I felt overjoyed watching him when eventually his daughter gave birth I was so happy for him, but sad at the same time, and concerned that, I hope and pray that this child gets to live. And I'm sure many of us can relate to that as well. Many of us. An activist and writer, Sean King, did a very, very huge reel on him, an interview with him, and had, quite a lot to say, because obviously, this man was a pillar of hope, was a pillar of future, was a pillar of the stereotypical man that's depicted in our media not actually being like that. And this felt lots and lots of warmth and positivity coming from that. And then sadly this morning I have come across the news that sadly he has passed away, and he was also killed in an Israeli airstrike. My heart has not stopped grieving for this man and his family. My heart cannot cope with this news, because Khaled Nabhan was an icon, was a pillar of strength, was a pillar of humility, humanity, generosity. There's just not enough words in the English dictionary, despite me having a plethora of them. And the sad thing is that this man has been laid to rest, and we are weeping his loss. We are torn, we are broken. One of the most beautiful things that he said at the time when his own granddaughter had died was, and I didn't understand the Arabic, I had to learn it afterwards, but he was talking about that the granddaughter was the soul of his soul. And there was an Arabic version of it, and I apologize if I say it incorrectly, roha or roha, which is soul of my soul. We are so saddened by our loss, dear sir. We are so saddened that you're no longer with us. And we are saddened that in this attack, we lost you. We lost you today. We lost a good one. We lost a good one. And we feel the grief and we feel the pain. The only comfort we have is that we pray that you are with your grandchildren up in heaven. We pray that you have peace. We pray that you have comfort. And we pray that whilst you are here and doing the goodness that you did, it's had a lot of impacting effect on many, many people. Believe you and me. You broke so many different stereotypes of the Arab man. You showed that there is a different side to what people display and what people reveal to the world. And we will always love you for that. We will always care for you for that. And we know that your granddaughter is there with you. So is your grandson. But we hope and we pray that the kindness that you showed many, many other people lives on forever. Lives on forever. You went out of your way this last year when you had your own grief to go and support so many other people around Palestine. You helped so many people recover from the rubble. One of the most poignant things I saw was when you went to go and put tomb and a gravestone on your granddaughter's grave. And I recall seeing you clean the headstone and put prayers over those two beautiful grandchildren that you lost. And I hope and pray that somebody's going to be able to do that for you, sir. Because clearly you were someone that we all looked up to. And like I said, you know, that loss that you felt, sir, we felt it too. We saw you go from one aspect of rebuilding your life and always standing for peace and standing for change. And although I'm not fluent in Arabic, I could see the goodness that you were doing, and I could see the kindness that you were doing amongst the Palestinians that were living in the camps. You went and donated quite a lot to many, many people. You had gone and given food and shelter and comfort to many, many people that didn't have it. And for this you will always be remembered. For this you will always have that legacy and kindness. And I appreciate that when I'm doing this podcast, I am in tears of you. And I'm sure many, many other people are too. But I wanted to do my own prayers and love for you and show the compassion and do my own way of remembering you and holding a candle to your name. I pray that you are at peace, sir. I pray that you stand in people's memory for a long, long time. I pray that you are somewhere with your granddaughter. I pray that you have peace in your soul and in your heart. I pray that the people that keep not seeing the truth of what is happening in Palestine finally wake up their eyes and see what's happening. I pray that your goodness spreads everywhere. I pray that you are reunited with your loved ones, sir. And I pray for this war to stop. I pray for this war to stop. I hope that our hearts will lighten eventually. I pray that our grief will go in time. But I just wanted you to know that this is my way of holding a candle up to you and saying, I hope there's a lot more good men out there like you, sir, that shine a torch and shine that torch forever. You were our soul. You were our faith and our heart. And we will grieve for you now. We will grieve for you, and we will grieve for you a long time. I hope and pray that the wars stop. I hope and pray for peace. For peace. May you rest in peace, sir. May you rest in power.